each day. Prioritize certain projects. Take control of your agenda with 2 steps. Number 1, track your time on activities. And number 2, take personal breaks during the day. So think about tracking time like tracking food. Getting distracted during the day is like craving junk food. So consider this. A study from 2008 found that participants who kept a record of what they ate during an entire day lost twice as much weight as those who did not track their food intake. Think about it. Mindless snacking does not really seem to add up until you document every bite. Food journaling keeps you accountable. The act of writing down what you ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner gives you a higher sense of awareness. These same benefits of food journaling apply to keeping a record of how you spend your hours each day. As Chris Bailey, author of The Productivity Project, writes, without becoming aware of how you currently spend your time, it's hard to reflect on whether you're acting in ways that match up with what your values and highest impact tasks are. Keeping a time log is a great way to find your starting point, your base level. For example, if you don't realize you're spending 60 minutes a day on Facebook, how can you even know that you need to take steps to lessen your social media consumption? Think about installing an app on your phone, such as Stay Free, that automatically tracks your time at the screen each day. The app's analysis can keep you honest. The other key to organizing yourself is to take personal breaks during the day. Working for long stretches can lead to mental exhaustion and stress. Taking breaks helps to refresh the mind, even restoring your motivation. So a simple 5-minute walk every hour during the day breaks up the prolonged nature of work, helping you maintain cognitive creativity for tasks. Take a proper lunch break, and don't look at your email inbox while eating. Prioritizing rest is the key to improving productivity. Stress is definitely linked to work productivity. If we say yes to many projects, knowing they will consume more of our time, we get stressed. We get overwhelmed. This may end up harming productivity, even though we're trying to accomplish more in the long term. The stress response is essential for survival. 4 primary chemicals, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol, are released into the system to initiate fight or flight. This response is driven by the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for increasing blood pressure, heart rate, and muscle contractions. We are hyper aware of our surroundings when the sympathetic nervous system is engaged. Small amounts of stress can prove to be beneficial, however. So think about a time when you had to take an exam, or maybe the moments leading up to a first date. Your body is physiologically stressed, but this response helps prepare you for the upcoming activity. It's good to be stressed in this manner. You're focused and you're ready. But the body is not designed to be on high alert for long periods of time. We can handle only so much stress. Say hello then to the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to calm our bodies, leading to decreased heart rate and respiration. The rest and digest mode is associated with parasympathetic activity. Excessive stress to an individual is known as allostatic load. This happens during abnormally high production from the sympathetic nervous system, which can increase susceptibility to disease. Our makeup worsens as a result of chronic stress. So let's focus on cortisol for a moment here. This steroid hormone is released by the adrenal glands in response to fear or stress. Elevated cortisol levels lead to weight gain, decreased bone density, and increased blood pressure. Even worse, high amounts of cortisol in the bloodstream can damage the brain's functioning ability. So the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for memory and learning, can actually shrink due to chronic stress. Fortunately, though, the effects of stress can be reversed thanks to our brain's plasticity. So now I would love to hear from you guys. Here's the first question for all of you. How do you cope with stress? Opening it up to the entire audience here.
Hi, this is Victoria with the last few say. I think I cope with stress by eating. Food is my best friend when I'm stressed out.
That's a very normal response. Thanks for sharing.
What I primarily do is I go out and take a walk until I'm no longer stressed.
Fantastic. I like it, Dave. Excellent. Anybody else before we move on?
A couple folks in the chat said that they take walks or do exercising.
Fantastic. Yes, very healthy. Nice, nice. Okay, so second question here. What are stressors in your life? What causes you stress throughout the day?
I would say computer issues.
True.
I agree with you on that one.
Oh, yeah.
The in-asking.
Yeah.
Technology is not always our best friend, so you have to battle against it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say sometimes staying on task with, things that you have to get done for the day. Because there's a lot of, in my job, a lot of things it's not consistent. So I may have a plan for the day and it gets interrupted because something came up and now I totally have to take a different path for the day.
Right.
I agree with you, Victoria. I definitely second that.
Anyone else for this question? All righty, let's move on. So now let's talk about the 3 M's that can help transform your morning routine. Up first would be mindset. Attitude is everything, especially in the morning. Your mindset lays the foundation for what you plan to accomplish each day. A success-driven mindset is your best friend. Focus on the quality of your desired outcome and start your day from there. It all begins when you wake up. Number 2 is mindfulness. Try paying attention to your surroundings when you wake up. Monitor your breathing. How do your muscles feel? Appreciate the stillness of life in the morning. Notice how the sun's rays might enter your bedroom through the windows. And if you practice mindfulness each morning, it certainly does not have to take up too much of your time. You could have a renewed outlook on life. And last but not least is movement. Early morning exercise wakes up your body and prepares your mind for the day ahead. Now, this does not have to be super intense movement. A few stretches will certainly suffice. It's all about blood flow in this instance. Your goal is to supply the brain and other organs with an ample amount of oxygen before proceeding with your day. Mastering your mornings sets the tone for each day. So when I wake up, I'll monitor my breathing and measure my resting heart rate. After standing up out of bed, I'll take a nice big swig from my water bottle and move gently around my bedroom. So this entire process takes maybe 5 minutes, but it makes a massive difference for me. My goal every morning is to wake up the mind, body, and spirit. Now, your morning routine does not have to resemble mine. Simply find what works best for you and try to incorporate the 3 M's for at least a few minutes each morning. Be creative. All right, multitasking is a waste of time, simply put. When you switch from one task to the other simultaneously, the brain needs to reorient itself, leading to a lag time. At the end of the day, these delays in cognition end up being a lot of time that could have been spent working. You also sabotage the ability to create quality work when you multitask. We are not able to actually monitor ourselves when we multitask. We begin to lose sight of what we're doing right and what we're doing badly. Earl Miller, a professor of neuroscience at MIT, says multitasking even hinders imagination. Using time and brain power to constantly switch back and forth between two tasks does not allow one thought to lead to the other. This is why it's important to commit working on single tasks at a time. Don't become overburdened with the thought of working on 3 tasks at a time just because they're all due at the end of the week. Spend quality time on each task, separating these high priority items from other projects on your agenda. Try to finish each task to completion, then check it off the list and move on. So here's a quick tip. Put your phone or whatever else might distract you in a different room while you home in on that important project for the day. A study from Florida State University showed that elite performers, like athletes and musicians, were more productive when they practiced uninterrupted for 90 minutes or less, with breaks in between sessions. This is known as following your ultradian rhythm, which involves cycles of high frequency brain activity, about 90 minutes of that, followed by lower frequency brain activity, about 20 to 30 minutes. So here's the difference between ultradian and circadian rhythms. An ultradian rhythm is a recurrent period or cycle repeated throughout a 24-hour day, while a circadian rhythm completes one cycle daily, which leads us to stay awake during the day and fall asleep at night. Anders Ericsson, the FSU professor who led this study, said, to maximize gains from long-term practice, individuals must avoid exhaustion and must limit practice to an amount from which they can completely recover on a daily or weekly basis. This evidence applies directly to improving work productivity. In order to stay efficient throughout the day and week, we can block out 90-minute chunks to focus on tasks and give them our full attention with no distractions. At the same time, though, we must schedule in time for proper recovery and rest. After all, we cannot complete high-quality work if we are stressed. Now, when you're stressed over a work project, your mind inevitably starts to race. Thoughts flood the brain, leading to increased heart rate and blood pressure, causing you to lose focus. This is where breathing enters the equation. Deep breathing is our single biggest defense against chronic stress. We can all control the way we breathe. Our bodies function so much better when there's more oxygen in the blood. Let's focus on nasal breathing for a moment. The nose adds moisture and warmth to inhaled air for smoother entry to the lungs. Breathing through the nose releases nitric oxide, which increases carbon dioxide levels, helping to release oxygen. So it's a 3-step process there. On the other hand, mouth breathing does not effectively release the nitric oxide, meaning cells do not get as much oxygen, leading to fatigue and stress. So here's a simple breathing exercise you can implement in your day-to-day activity, especially when you feel stressed. So let's take in a long breath that lasts 4 beats, going at about this tempo. Nice and slow. Hold in that air for a moment, then exhale for 6 counts. Fill your rib cage as you breathe in during the inhalation. Be careful not to rise the shoulders. You're breathing in and out through the nostrils and the diaphragm. And then as you exhale, squeeze the abdominal muscles until you have nothing left in the tank. So let's give it a go here. Breathing in for 4. Exhale. Until you have nothing left. Let's try it again here. Breathing in for 4, exhaling for 6. So with this exercise, you're stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, helping you to just calm down and use breath as your best friend here. So just a very simple exercise you can implement in your day-to-day lifestyle there. right, time to talk about sleep here. The bedroom is designed to be a sanctuary for sleep. Cool, dark environment, very comfortable. Yet we can all admit to breaking the rules from time to time. Staring at our cell phones before bed, watching TV before a night's slumber. So then, how can we optimize our sleep? There are many questions that need answering. According to Matthew Walker, a professor of neuroscience and psychology, men who routinely sleep just 4 to 5 hours a night will have a level of testosterone, which is that of someone 10 years older. And for all adults, insufficient sleep has been linked to the development of chronic diseases and conditions, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity, and depression, according to the CDC. Sleep is a necessity of life, and it needs to be talked about, especially as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to cause high levels of stress worldwide. We cannot afford to compromise our immune systems with a lack of sleep. Maximizing the benefits of sleep can be simple. The process begins in your bedroom, where you enhance your environment, then apply daily routines that improve sleep. So think about these tips. Choose a mattress and pillows for your sleep style, whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, stomach sleeper, whatever works best for you, whatever is most comfortable. Use bedding that supports your comfort. Soft, clean sheets, blankets that are the right weight. You don't want to be overburdened with too heavy of a blanket, and then that leads to your body temperature really increasing during the night, which can obviously prevent you from getting a good night's sleep because your body is so hot. Speaking of which, set a cool temperature about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and your body temperature actually decreases to initiate sleep. So having a cool bedroom can actually help facilitate the stages of sleep. You can also block out light with curtains and maybe experiment with calming scents such as lavender to have in your room to create a nice ambiance there. Forming good sleep habits is a central part of health and well-being. Because practicing healthy behaviors naturally leads to a sense of reward, you can use them to create your own cycle of positive reinforcement. Prioritizing sleep is an easy behavior to carry out in your day-to-day lifestyle. So think of sleep as your own spa, a place of retreat in the evening. You work hard during the day, focus on productivity and meeting deadlines, but the bedroom will forever remain a safe haven. Think about sleep in the same context as eating. Both activities are mandatory for survival. Therefore, they both deserve the same level of attention and respect. Sleep will forever remain an essential part of health and well-being. There is no pride associated with losing sleep to complete more tasks. Listen to your body. Sleep helps your brain prepare for the next day, thus improving mental cognition. Take care of your body and make sleep a priority. Here are some tips to maintain a healthy circadian rhythm. So try to eat foods about within a 10-hour window during the day. Expose yourself to daylight for at least 30 minutes each day. That can be tough in Washington State, especially during the fall and winter when we do not experience much sun whatsoever, but try your best. Reduce exposure to bright indoor light 2 to 3 hours before sleep to increase the levels of melatonin in your body that help initiate sleep. Avoid too much television and depressing news, and don't forget to exercise. Keep that body moving during the day. We often assume the number of hours spent at work are an indication of effort and accomplishment. In reality, however, the most productive days are not always the longest. Research from Behance, a social media platform owned by Adobe, has found that placing importance on hours and physical presence over action and results leads to a culture of inefficiency and anxiety. After all, when you feel forced to work beyond your capacity, you begin to hate what you are doing. Respect the creative process. If you care about your work, you will do what it takes to finish. So think about scaling down your responsibilities. Can you delegate tasks? Or maybe you can drop unimportant items off of your schedule and save those for a later date. Keep your list lean and mean, and always finish what you start. Leaving something half finished can be stressful and distracting. Now, to be truly productive, not only at work, but in other endeavors throughout life, you need to consider scheduling you time on the calendar. For instance, you can block out 10 minutes each day to just sit idle. Don't look at your phone during this time. Don't bother yourself with emails. Just appreciate the stillness, just like when you wake up first thing in the morning. Maybe stand up and walk for a brief time throughout the office, or venture outside and smell nature's beauty. During this time, you are not focusing on work. You are not thinking about all the projects you need to finish to meet deadlines. You are just enjoying the moment as it happens. Alrighty, I want to thank each of you for listening to me speak today, and I'm incredibly honored to share my knowledge about mental health and how that relates to improving work productivity. All of you have the power to control your stress levels on a day-by-day basis. It's just a matter of listening to yourself and understanding what steps you will take to improve your well-being. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. We truly appreciate it. I felt that breathing in and out. I definitely needed that after today's internet issues.
I can imagine.
Definitely needed that. And so just opening the floor up to anyone who had any questions or comments for Sam. You can, I was gonna say, go ahead, Dave.
What I was going to say is, you mentioned as far as your planning your day in the morning. What I've found helpful as far as being able to eliminate stress for me and help my productivity, what I've recommended sometimes is the night before, the last thing I do before I end off work for the day is I plan my next day. I basically put the list down and plan what I'm going to accomplish the next day. Then the first thing I do in the morning before I start work is I basically clean my office. I clean my area so it's distraction free.
That's a great idea, Dave.
Fantastic.
Once I do that, then I can just concentrate on getting tasks done.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing. That's a wonderful idea. And I think for me too, going to work, it's always nice to lay out clothes the night prior and to possibly make my lunch too during that time, just so when I wake up in the morning, I can just flow about my day and not have to worry about trying to pick up some slack that I forgot to do the night before. So yeah. I definitely agree with what you said, Dave. Yeah.
I just find it helps on the productivity as far as, you're no longer, it cuts out distractions or
yes.
Confusions in the area.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, especially cleaning off the desk and stuff. Even with COVID, I mean, it's good to get in the habit of coming in, cleaning the desk off, wiping it off, or whatever you're going to do to start a fresh slate for the morning. I think I'll definitely be taking that up from now on.
Good.
That's a great idea. Great idea. And go ahead.
I can add that these days that your office is your home, and when you want to create a clear space for you, it's take you more time, because then the dishes are already in that equation, and the laundry, and there is other things in my mind at least. So just to decide what is your space work, and just to clear this one, and to decide that that's not the time to clear other spaces. I think I feel that that's one thing that I learned in this pandemic, that times that it's so important for me to just to say when it's time to work and when it's time for house and when it's time for kids, and just to create these spaces.
Yeah, very true. It's so important to really separate all the aspects about your life. So work, family, house. It's so good to prioritize time for those activities throughout the day, and to not lose sight of everything.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Did anyone else want to go next with a comment or a question?
So this is Austin from Green River College. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing everything today. I definitely utilize a lot of these items that you talked about, especially in the last couple of years, just trying to manage that work-life balance. Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing, Sam.
Thank you very much, Austin.
A couple of people in the chat just saying thank you to Sam. I saw you saw that, so that's good. I'll leave it open for one last comment or so if anyone has. I just don't want to cut anyone off if they had a comment or something to talk about. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and close it out for today a little bit early. Hopefully no one else had any computer issues and they can kind of end their day. And tomorrow's hump day, so we'll start over tomorrow with a new mind frame, right? Cleaning the desk off, all that good stuff. And thanks again to Sam with Valley Medical for helping us with this presentation today. I personally will take away a lot of things that you discussed, so I definitely appreciate it. And as always, as chamber members and or any community members that get any of our communication, we do send updates every Friday with all of our recordings and webinars for everyone who have missed it. If you have anything that needed to be added or any questions, you feel free to either email me to reach out to Sam or just reach out to Sam directly. If you need the contact information, like I said, I can provide that for you. And we will be sending the recording on an update on Friday. So thank you again, everyone. Everyone's just saying thank you as well, Sam. So we appreciate everyone.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for always participating.
Thank you.
Something every time.
So real quick, I'm going to put my email address into the chat box there, just in case anybody wants to ask me questions or follow up with my presentation. I'm more than happy to help there.
Okay,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you, everyone, for being a part of our chamber, and we will see you at our next event. Have a great week.
Perfect.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.